There is a moment almost every INTP remembers. A moment where they said something, or built something, or connected two ideas that nobody else in the room could connect, and instead of getting a reaction, they got silence. Maybe a laugh that wasn't really a laugh. Maybe someone changed the subject, and in that exact moment, something quiet happened inside them. They decided, without even realizing it, that the smartest thing to do next time was to say less. I think that single decision, made usually before the age of 12, ends up shaping the rest of an INTP's life more than almost anything else. And today I want to talk about the one gift INTPs carry that they almost never let anyone see, not because they don't have it, but because somewhere along the way, they learned it was safer to hide it. Before we go further, I want you to notice something. If you're watching this and you're not even sure you're an INTP, stay with me anyway, because what I'm about to describe doesn't just belong to one type of person. It belongs to anyone who has ever been told, in one way or another, that the way their mind works is too much. So let's talk about what this gift actually is. Most people assume INTPs are just logical, detached, good with facts, bad with feelings. That's the surface story, the one people settle for because it's easy to explain. But underneath that surface is something far more interesting. INTPs have this rare ability to take a system, any system, a rule, a belief, a structure, an idea that everyone else accepts without question, and quietly pull it apart in their head to see if it actually holds up. Not to be difficult, not to prove anyone wrong, just because they genuinely need to know if it's true. That need doesn't switch off. It runs constantly, in the background, even when they're doing something completely unrelated, even when they look like they're staring off into space doing nothing at all. Here's the part most people miss. That constant background process isn't a flaw. It's a form of creative intelligence that very few people are wired for. INTPs don't just memorize information, they rebuild it from scratch in their own mind until it makes sense to them. And once they've rebuilt it, they can see connections that weren't obvious to anyone else. A pattern between two completely unrelated fields, a flaw in an argument that sounded convincing to everyone else in the room. A better way to explain something that took a professor 20 minutes? In about 20 seconds. That's the gift. And I think most INTPs have felt it flicker inside them their whole life, without ever really being told what it was. Now here's where things get complicated. Because this kind of mind doesn't fit neatly into most environments. School wants you to answer the question that was asked, not question the question itself. Work wants you to follow the process, not redesign it in your head because you noticed 3 inefficiencies nobody assigned you to notice. And people, generally, want conversations to stay light and easy, not suddenly detour into the actual mechanics of how something works or why a commonly accepted idea might be wrong. So what happens to a mind like this when it exists inside a world that keeps asking it to be smaller than it actually is? It goes quiet, not because it stops thinking, it never stops thinking, but because it learns very early that saying what it actually sees out loud tends to cost something. Maybe it costs a friendship that suddenly feels distant. Maybe it costs a room going awkward. Maybe it's just a teacher looking mildly annoyed that you asked a question that wasn't on the syllabus. Whatever the cost was, the mind remembers it, and slowly, an unspoken rule starts to form. Something like, keep this part of yourself to yourself. I want you to think about how strange that actually is. A person is given one of the rarest kinds of thinking on the planet, the ability to take apart complexity and rebuild understanding from the ground up, and instead of that, becoming their strength, it becomes the thing they learn to apologize for. This is where I think a lot of people get the INTP wrong. They assume the quietness means there's nothing going on. They assume the person who doesn't talk much in meetings, who answers in short sentences, who seems a little distant at parties, simply doesn't have much to say. But it's almost always the opposite. There's usually an entire structure of thought happening behind that quiet expression. Ideas being tested, assumptions being challenged, entire arguments being built and dismantled in seconds. The mind is working overtime. It's just decided a long time ago that most of that work isn't safe to say out loud. And here's something worth sitting with for a second. Silence, for an INTP, is rarely emptiness. It's usually restraint. So why does this happen so consistently? I think it comes down to a mismatch between how INTPs process the world and how most social environments are built to run. Most conversations move fast, stay surface level, and reward warmth over precision. INTPs, on the other hand, are wired to slow down, dig deeper, and value accuracy over comfort. When those two speeds collide, the INTP is usually the one who ends up adjusting, not because their way is wrong, But because it's the minority way in most rooms, and minorities learn to adapt to survive socially, let's go a little deeper into what that adaptation actually looks like, because I think this is where a lot of INTPs will recognize themselves. Somewhere in childhood, or maybe early adolescence, they start noticing a pattern. Every time they explain something in too much detail, people's eyes glaze over. Every time they point out a flaw in a plan, someone gets defensive. Every time they ask a question that digs past the surface, they get the label of being difficult, or overly analytical, or just weird. And a child, or even a teenager, doesn't have the tools to separate my way of thinking as different from my way of thinking as wrong. So they merge those two things together. And once that merge happens, masking begins. Masking, for an INTP, doesn't look loud. It's not dramatic. It's subtle. It looks like nodding along in a conversation instead of correcting a small inaccuracy that's bothering you internally. It looks like keeping your actual opinion to yourself in a meeting because you already know it'll be met with blank stares. It looks like dumbing down an explanation, not because the other person can't understand it, but because you've learned that full honesty about how you actually see something tends to make people uncomfortable. Over the years, this becomes so automatic that many INTPs don't even realize they're doing it anymore. It just becomes how they exist around other people. But here's the cost, and I think this is the part that doesn't get talked about enough. When you spend years hiding the sharpest, most valuable part of your mind, you don't just become quieter, you start to lose touch with how good that part of you actually is. INTPs, more than almost any other type, tend to underestimate their own intelligence, not because they lack it, but because they've spent so long being told, directly or indirectly, that expressing it fully isn't welcome. So the gift stays folded up, tucked away, used only in private, in journals, in late solo research sessions, in conversations with maybe one or two people in their entire life who actually get it. Let me ask you something. If you're watching this and any part of it feels close to home, I want you to think about the last time you fully explained an idea to someone without shrinking it first, without simplifying it before you even opened your mouth, without watching their face to see if you should stop early. If you can't remember, that's worth noticing. Now, I think it's worth pausing here and asking, why does this matter so much? Why does it matter if an INTP hides this part of themselves? I'd argue it matters because this exact ability, the one being hidden, is one of the most needed abilities in the entire world right now. We live in a time full of noise, full of surface-level opinions, full of people repeating things they've never actually examined. The ability to slow down, question a system, and rebuild understanding from first principles is rare. It's valuable. It's the kind of thinking that leads to real breakthroughs in science, in problem-solving, in business, in art, in almost anything worth doing well. And every time an INTP mutes that ability because a room made them feel small for having it, the world quietly loses something it actually needed. So what's the way out of this? I don't think the answer is to suddenly become loud or to force yourself into rooms that were never built for this kind of mind. I think the real answer is smaller and more honest than that. It starts with finding the few environments and the few people where this kind of thinking is actually met with curiosity instead of discomfort, because they do exist. There are people who lean forward when you go deep instead of pulling back. There are conversations where nobody rushes you to simplify, and once an INTP experiences even one of those environments, something shifts. They start to remember what it feels like to think out loud without editing themselves first. I also think there's real value in slowly testing the edges of your own silence. Not all at once, not by trying to become a different person overnight, but by choosing, every now and then, to say the fuller version of the thought instead of the shortened one. To ask the deeper question instead of letting it pass. To explain the whole idea instead of stopping halfway because you assume the other person won't follow. Some people won't follow, that's fine, but some will, and those are the ones worth building a life around. There's another thing worth mentioning here. A lot of INTPs assume that because their thinking moves differently, they need to translate themselves constantly just to be understood, and sometimes that's true. Some translation is healthy, it's called communication. But there's a difference between translating an idea so someone can follow it and shrinking an idea so it doesn't threaten anyone. The first one is a skill. The second one is a habit built out of old, valid fear. I think learning to tell those two apart is one of the most useful things an INTP can do for themselves. I want to bring this back to where we started. That early moment, the one where silence felt safer than being seen fully. I don't think that moment was wrong to happen. Given the reaction that came from being fully expressed, quieting down was actually a smart move at the time. It protected something, but I think it's worth asking, at some point, whether that same protection is still needed now. Whether the room you're in today is the same room you were in back then. Often, it isn't. Often the world has moved on, the people around you have changed, and the only thing still running on old settings is the habit of holding back. If there's one thing I'd want an INTP watching this to walk away with, it's this. The part of you that questions everything, that sees connections others miss, that needs to understand the actual mechanics of a thing before accepting it, that part was never the problem. It was never something to be ashamed of, and it was never something that needed permission to exist. What needed to change wasn't the gift. It was the belief that the gift had to stay hidden to be safe. And I think that applies far beyond just INTPs. Anyone who has ever learned to shrink the sharpest, most original part of themselves because a room once made it feel unwelcome is carrying a version of this same story. The good news is, stories like this can be rewritten, slowly, in small conversations, in the right rooms, with the right people, one honest sentence at a time. If this video felt like it was speaking directly to you, that probably means it was. Let me know in the comments which part hit closest to home. I read every single one. And if you want to go even deeper into how this pattern shows up specifically for your type, I'll leave something for you in the description that goes further into this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.